Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be looking at the Excalibur 5-tray stackable dehydrator. It's a long name, but it's a really good product, and today we're going to be doing a bit of a demonstration and a review of it. So let's start off by looking at the construction a bit and what you get in this box. So first I'd just like to note, on the lid here, lovely set of quick information on different types of food and the recommended temperatures for dehydrating it. So you've got all sorts of things on here. You've got bread, herbs and spices, meats and vegetable and fruits, amongst a few other things, and it gives you the temperatures you should be using to heat them. So immediately you can get going with this as soon as you pull it out of the box, and I love that. Just attention to detail that Excalibur has done to make sure that you don't need to spend a load of time before you can get started using their device. Next up, as I open it up, greeted by 4 lovely little storage pots. Now, of course, these will be able to store a ton of dehydrated food because it loses so much mass when it's dehydrated. I'd guess that you can probably fit maybe 3 to 4 apples worth of dehydrated food in each pot, which is a lot. They could be, well, 20 strawberries or 20 berries. It's a lot of storage capacity, so really nice to see that. Great that it's offered all inside this. Next up, we'll take a look at one of the 5 trays. As you can see, it's been designed to have holes that are for optimal airflow. Dehydrating isn't just about temperature, you need to have the airflow to remove the moisture from your foods. And these have been designed to really get your food dry as soon as possible. They're made from BPA-free food-grade plastics. Really firm, strong plastics as well. You're not going to easily break these. They can take a punch. And of course, because they're BPA-free, it means that you're not having any leaching of chemicals from the plastic into your food, which is so important nowadays. Now, if I go to the next tray, we actually have some mesh inserts here. By the looks of things, we have 5 of them, yeah. And these will allow you to still have airflow, but if you've got small ingredients that are just that bit too small for these holes, it means that it's not an issue. You simply place this insert in, and now nothing should be falling through. These are really small holes. You'd have to be dehydrating incredibly tiny seeds for this still to not be usable. However, if you are dehydrating tiny seeds, you could very well use these orange trays. Now, I believe these weren't originally intended for seeds, but since we were on the topic, it worked. But I think you can also dehydrate yogurts, and probably also just, they're good drip trays for anything that might have some leakage when you first put it in. Really juicy tomatoes, we've got a couple here. I may well put one of these towards the bottom just to help catch anything. But make sure that you're aware that if you use these, it probably is going to take a longer time to dehydrate the food because the airflow is being blocked slightly by these. Now, beyond that, that looks like everything we get in the box. So, back to the trays a bit then. One of the big strengths of this device is that you don't need all trays. If you've only got 2 trays worth of food, you just use the 2 trays. And you put the lid on top, it keeps the airflow more contained, it keeps the heat more contained, it'll allow you to dehydrate so much quicker. So that's really good flexibility. Now I must stress that the advantage of this isn't just the fact you can take trays out and dehydrate less and stuff. This still dehydrates incredibly quickly with all 5 trays. It is a really high performance device. But having that flexibility really does allow you to work around what you need to do. Sometimes you'll want to use all 5 trays. You want to do a big load, you want a load to last you the entire week. But sometimes you might just fancy a rare treat. You fancy doing some banana chips, or you don't often get some apples, and therefore you're doing apple chips on this occasion. So you really can mix and match it as you require. So I think that's a good look at the construction. As you can see, on the right here, I prepared just a few fruits. We've got tomatoes, we've got apples, and we've got a few strawberries. Now, I am going to be putting this on, and we'll see afterwards what the dehydrated results are, and I will be cutting up a lot more of these. We'll have a full tray of each. But in the meantime, I'm just going to show you how to stack them correctly, the amount of space you want to give between each of your fruits or vegetables or any product you use. And we'll just begin. I'll show you how I'm doing it. So you want to leave a bit of a gap. That's just so that your products don't stick together. At the end of the day, you want to be able to remove these easily. So just make sure that you're using the most of your space. This thing has a massive capacity. You really can truly fill it. And just spend a little bit of time, sometimes taking a bit of time to make sure you get the most out of your trays is the best way to make the best use out of your dehydrator. Plug in that gap there with that one. As you can see, that was most of one apple. It was a small apple, but nonetheless, that's not even quite a quarter of this capacity. Now, if we just put in the tomatoes, of course, it is good to note that with tomatoes, because they shrink so much, you really do want to compress these in to get the max capacity. When you open it up, you'll think you barely filled it. You don't want that feeling. You want to make sure that you used all of that space. So, really tightly together on the tomatoes. Of course, try to make it so they're not touching, but it's not as much of an issue with the tomatoes. They don't tend to dry too sticky. And there we go. So again, that was about a whole tomato. Probably could be a bit more space conservative with it. Just move those around a bit. There we are. And again, just about a quarter. So this thing really can take a lot. Now, we've got one strawberry here, just again to show off the capabilities of how much this can take. Now, your strawberries will maintain a lot of their size, depending on how you cut them, of course. And we do recommend for strawberries a slightly thicker cut if you want a true taste. If you want something a bit more like a chip, then yeah, cut it thin, it will still come out really nice. But if you're looking for a really nice strawberry chunk that's dehydrated, really strong flavour, just cut them a bit thicker, although it's up to you entirely. Now, as you can see, that's just one strawberry, and I probably could put those a bit closer. Be careful with strawberries, they do tend to stick together, and if they do, you won't be able to pull them apart. Not that that's a bad thing, it's a two-in-one deal. Anyway, so there we are. That's how we recommend to put them together. Maybe a bit further apart on some of these bits of apple, but you get the general idea. So, pop that on, and we'll just pop on the lid quickly. Now, let's just go to the front, and I'll show you how it works. As I said, it's made by Excalibur. They are a leading brand when it comes to food dehydrators. No one does it better. This is their first stackable dehydrator though, and I have to say it really does perform well. They've gone completely to town with this. And also on the front we've got a simple power button, on and off, very easy to use. You just need to plug this in. There's no fancy buttons that need to be pressed, just a simple switch and you're ready to get going. After that, simple thermostat, you just twist it. You can't go wrong with that. It's got temperatures in degrees Celsius and Fahrenheit, so no matter where you're from, you should be comfortable using this. Anyway, now what I'm going to do off camera is I'm going to cut up some more fruits and vegetables, and we're going to get this running. For about 3 trays full of fruit and vegetables, we're expecting about 4 hours to dehydrate it all, which is a really good speed. So, we'll see you then. So, it's been 4 hours, and our dehydrator has finished removing the moisture from the food we put in it. So, we'll take a quick look at what we've produced and see how well it's done. So, there we are, our tray of strawberries. Now, we've used a really good capacity for this device. There we go, our tray of apples. Finally, our tray of tomatoes. And of course, whilst the capacity looks to have gone down, that's mainly because, of course, when these things dehydrate, they lose a lot of their mass. So whilst there's a lot of blank space in here, when we put the apple down, there really wasn't that much space. So you can really pack this thing up. Don't worry about leaving gaps between the fruit or vegetables or any other product you're putting in for that matter. Just make sure that you've put an amount that you're happy with dehydrating. Don't put too little because you think it needs the airflow. This thing can cope. So, let's just take a quick look at the tomatoes. These were really juicy, so these really test how good a dehydrator is. Now, as I said, these ran for about 4 hours, which is a really fast speed, I must say. And you can see that these tomatoes are bone dry. Get a look at that little half, and you can see all of the seeds and everything still in there, really beautifully dehydrated, and all the moisture's gone. My fingers can't detect any in any of these samples, even in the apples, which can sometimes, if you cut them really thick, as you can see that one was a bit thick, I didn't do the best cut on that. Still really dry, try a bit. A really enjoyable texture, really good taste, I can say, for the apples. These apples, of course, as I've mentioned, they will retain their nutritional value much more than something you buy in your local supermarket. So this thing isn't just saving you money in the long term, but it's also giving you more nutrients for what you eat. Anyway, that does us today on the Excalibur 5-tray stackable dehydrator. If you're interested to find out a bit more, check out this video. It covers all of the technical specifications about the device and shows off its true performance in stats. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you again next time.